Bringing you the news from Sri Lanka and across the world, it's your national news broadcast on ChannelEye Rupavahini Corporation. I'm Siobhan Pereira.
A very good evening to you indeed. I'm Sharifa Tahir. Let's take a look at the headlines.
A proposal at the Galle District Conference of the UNP to declare Ranil Wickremesinghe as the national candidate at the forthcoming presidential election. A CEB suggestion to reduce electricity charges by 3.34% has been directed to the Public Utility Commission. An earth slip in Badalkumbura destroys 12 houses and places 7 more in danger. School texts and uniforms to the students within 1 month after the February 16th. 25 persons injured in a clash between detainees at Kandakadu. 56 of the fleeing inmates returned to the center. The Houthi militant group says no serious damages have been incurred due to US and British attacks.
We now move on to those and other stories in detail, and let's take a look at local stories. First, a proposal has been forwarded to the Galle District Conference of the United National Party today to present coming presidential election.
Now, the proposal was unanimously adopted. It has been decided at a recent UNP Management Committee meeting to conduct district conferences on island-wide basis targeting the forthcoming presidential election. Accordingly, the first in the series, the Galle District Conference, was conducted with the participation of a large number of UNP activists at the Galle Town Hall premises. Today, all participants have raised their hands and unanimously approved the proposal to declare the current president as the national candidate at the upcoming poll. UNP President Vajira Abewardena reminded the chaotic incidences on the 9th of July 2022 during the height of the Aragalaya disturbances. He said that he remembered large number of people travelling in trains to arrive in Colombo. Mr. Abewardena said that he was at the scene where mobs set alight the house of Mr. Ranil Wickremesinghe. Following those riots, Mr. Abewardena said he addressed the public, mentioning that Mr. Ranil Wickremesinghe has been appointed as the acting president according to the provisions of the constitution. Parliamentarian Abewardena said that current President Ranil Wickremesinghe introduced the most powerful anti-corruption bill to Sri Lanka. At the same time, a mechanism has been introduced to monitor the mysterious foreign money transactions to Sri Lanka during the election period. He paid homage to the President Ranil Wickremesinghe for getting Sri Lanka from the severe economic crisis within a period of 1 year and 7 months. UNP General Secretary Palitharange Bandara said that with this meeting they have commenced the presidential election campaign. He criticized the leader of Jatika Jana Balawegaya Anura Kumara and the opposition leader Sajith Premadasa for their misleading publicity campaigns. The United National Party has commenced the movement of securing the victory of President Ranil Wickremesinghe in the upcoming presidential election from Galle. The UNP General Secretary presented a strong prediction that President Ranil Wickremesinghe would secure the victory in the upcoming presidential election with a margin of over 10 million votes.
One man only the Ranil.
Deputy leader of the UNP, Akhila Viraj Karivasam, said that the presidential election is scheduled for next September. He said by that time, inabilities and lapses of most of the other political leaders will be revealed. As a result of that, Mr. Ranil Wickremesinghe will secure an easy victory in the upcoming presidential elections.
In the meantime, a proposal by the Ceylon Electricity Board to reduce average electricity tariff by 3.34% has been submitted to the Public Utility Commission today. Forecasted electricity generation and data pertaining to the budget of 2024 were included in the reports presented to the PUC. Accordingly, the estimated revenue has been recorded as 710,161 million rupees and the total cost as 686,430 million rupees. According to the statistics, the surplus in the sale of electricity has been estimated at 23,730 million rupees. The CEB report points out that there is room for a reduction of average tariff by 3.34%. It further says that the new tariff proposals have been prepared considering relief to low-income groups as well as on economically important business activities.
And we get into some international news. Now, the US says it carried out a fresh attack against a Houthi target in Yemen today, its second such strike on the group in 2 days.
The operation was described by the US as a follow-on action targeting a Houthi radar site. The Houthis vowed a strong and effective response to the strikes, adding that there were no injuries. The strikes come after weeks of attacks by Houthis on shipping vessels in the Red Sea. Joint UK-US airstrikes targeted nearly 30 Houthi positions in the early hours of Friday with the support of Western allies including Australia and Canada. A day later, the US Central Command said it carried out its latest strike on a Houthi radar site in Yemen using Tomahawk land attack cruise missiles. Houthi spokesman Nasruddin Amr told international media that the new strike will have a firm, strong and effective response and added that it had caused no injuries nor material damages have occurred. Meanwhile, Turkey's defense ministry says it conducted overnight airstrikes on terrorist targets in Iraq and Syria after 9 of its soldiers were killed in a military base in Iraq. It says the strikes targeted 29 locations belonging to the Kurdistan Workers' Party and the People's Protection Unit's militia, both of which Turkey regards as terror groups.
Now we have more on this developing story as well with our senior analyst on foreign affairs who is well experienced in this kind of information, Mr. Prasad Dodangorege. Mr. Dodangorege, good evening to you, sir. And now we understand that the US launched a massive offensive on the Houthi rebels today.
Actually, this was the second attack they launched, but according to US and UK, it was a follow-on attack.
Yes.
And it was limited because that attack only targeted specific area in this. If we go to this map, we can see in the purple color in this map, that's the area controlled by Houthis in Yemen. In the whole country, this is the purple color area is the Houthi stronghold. So almost all attack on Thursday night as well as last night targeted in that area. The main targets were mainly air bases and other military installations, but today's attack was special because they targeted the US, especially the US forces. They used a missile destroyer to attack that specific position. According to the US, they targeted a radar station of Houthis because with this radar station, Houthis use those facilities to attack commercial ships sailing through the Red Sea and the surrounding ocean areas. So with this escalation, what happened to the capabilities of Houthis? Still they are defined. Now even after the second attack, they issued a statement saying that that attack was it was harmless for them, nothing happened and no injuries and no considerable damage. At the same time, after the previous attack, Houthis launched another missile targeting an oil tanker. However, luckily that oil tanker was not hit. The missile was landed just 500 meters beyond the oil tanker. But that shows that Houthis are still in a very capable position of launching attacks. That could happen because Houthis are, they are already fighting within the Yemen territory with the other rival groups for many years. At the same time, they were fighting with Saudi Arabia for many years. So militarily, at the same time, they receive, according to the international military sources, they receive latest weapons from Iran, including drones and missiles, which they use to attack the commercial ships. Due to these attacks, now if we go to this black color area, the other map, we could see what happened, the direct result of Houthi attacks. In the upper part of this map, it shows, this map was circulated yesterday in many media, international media. In this upper part of this map shows the situation and container ship traffic in November 2023. So with these green color dots, you could see these ships traveling from Asia to Europe using the Red Sea and Suez Canal and then the Mediterranean Sea. That's the situation in November 2023, last year. So the Israel-Gaza war started after the attack on Israel back in October 7th last year. Then Houthis joined this war, expressing their support to Hamas just 3 weeks after the main attack on Israel. So since then they carried out number of attacks. As we know, they carried out more than 20 commercial ships were targeted, and they use missiles and drones, very advanced weapons, advanced weapons which rebel group like Houthis can use to inflict damage. And that damage, actually the physical damage is far more less. However, the impact was very high. As a result, now the other map, the latter part of this, the lower part of this map, we can see the situation in this month, January 2024. The ships are traveling across, around Africa, like the colonial period, because now most of those ships, commercial ships, they don't use the popular route. So that's why the international, the Western powers are trying so hard to alleviate these Houthi attacks, because Houthis are now already inflicting severe damage to the international maritime sector as well as international trade. So that's the main cause behind this situation. But the whole situation is linked with many complicated other situations, such as the Israel-Gaza war. It's raging now. According to the Palestinian sources, over 135 Palestinians were killed in Gaza area yesterday, and there were many reports of attacks on civilian targets and many accusations against Israel. At the same time, Israel declared that they have completed their missions, military operations in Khan Yunis area. At the same time, now we saw in that previous news item telecast on this issue, another escalation, the Turkey. It's totally different from this issue, but they also, some kind of, they are adding fuel to the burning situation in the Middle East, because they are fighting their own war against Kurdish forces. They have launched attacks on Syria and Iraq, but if we take the Middle East region as a whole, it's a severe escalation, and many clashes are raging. So that's the situation here, and we have to pay our attention.
We could also say that there could be serious economic implications.
Definitely. It's already happening, because now if we take this map, we could imagine the economic damage. The ships, they have to travel extra 10,000 kilometers. So imagine the fuel cost, imagine the insurance and other costs. So it's already happening.
Thank you very much, Mr. Prasad Darangarage, for the very detailed update on the recent attacks as well. And with that, it's time for us to shift to some local news updates. An earth slip recorded yesterday evening in Varadolavatta in Badalkumara Munaragala has destroyed 12 houses and put 7 more houses in an extremely dangerous position. The Disaster Management Centre says that the area continuously remains in a threatening condition. Due to the threat of further earth slips, 64 residents in 21 families have been moved to safer locations. Our reporters say around 30 acres of land have been subjected to the landslide. Several cultivated lands of vegetables, pepper and bananas have been destroyed, and cracks could be seen in the earth of the village. Residents say flooding of muddy water is continuing.
And we have more local news. Now, Minister Susil Premajanta says provision of school texts and uniforms to students will be concluded within 1 month after the 16th of February. Now, the minister has given this pledge at a ceremony at the State Printing Corporation in Padukka.
Minister Susil Premajanta said the third term vacation will be given on the 16th of February. The next school term will begin on the 19th of February. The minister added that prior to that, they will make arrangements to distribute all texts and thereafter school uniforms. The total cost to be incurred in this regard is 6.5 billion rupees. The minister also said that they were able to receive as a donation from China official uniforms valued at 5.5 billion rupees. The first stock of the contribution has already arrived, and the next installment is due by the beginning of this month. All arrangements have been made to distribute 100% of uniforms. The next challenge is the deployment of services of the teachers. Cases are being examined in courts for 9 months. Court cases are adversely affecting the students. If the court hearings were concluded within a month, there was the possibility of conducting exams promptly. The relevant teachers could have been trained after conducting interviews based on the marks received by them. However, the human rights have come into the scene, affecting the human rights of the students. Only the human rights of the petitioners are going to be considered. But they do not look into the plight of millions of students who have been deprived of services of teachers. The students cannot go before the courts over the breaching of their human rights. Now the students are going for private tuition, and parents of such students are spending more money on their children's education than the amount spent by the government on education. The minister has also expressed opinion to the media over the leaking of the advanced level question paper.
Now, vehicle transport in the Digampatana on the Trincomalee-Dambulla main road has come to a standstill for a brief moment recently. It was due to the presence of 2 habitual visitors on the road front.
Well, that's it on local news. We'll be moving on to international news. US lawsuit accused the newspaper and Mr. Trump's estranged niece, Mary Trump, of an dismissed it last year, saying Trump's financial affairs won a Pulitzer Prize. Yesterday, New York Supreme Court Judge Robert Reed, a Democrat, ordered Trump to repay the New York Times for fees incurred by his failed legal action. The judge said he arrived at the amount $392,638 after considering several matters, including the complexity of the issues presented in the lawsuit as well as the ability and reputation of the newspaper's lawyers. The lawsuit over a 2018 investigation that alleged the former president was involved in dubious tax schemes accused 3 journalists who reported on the story of working with Trump's niece as part of a personal dispute against him. It claimed they relentlessly pursued her and convinced her to turn over documents. Judge Reed dismissed the case in May, saying that the legal system has long recognized that reporters are entitled to engage in legal and ordinary news gathering activities. The judge said the activities were at the core of the country's First Amendment, which protected the right to free speech.
And now we cross over to Colombia. A landslide hit northwest Colombia on Friday, killing at least 18 people and injuring some 30 others, local authorities said. And we're back with some sports news. Now, the Sebastianites team beat the Badureli team by 10 wickets to gain eligibility for the finals of the Interclub League one-day cricket tournament. And the first semi-final of the tournament was held at the NCC grounds in Colombo today. The Badureli team was shot out for 108 runs in 42 overs. The Sebastianites have scored the required runs in 22 overs and 3 balls without losing a wicket. Tulina Dilshan and Navindu Vitanage have both remained not out on 53. In an Interclub League rugby tournament match, the Air Force team beat the Army team at the Ratmalana Air Force grounds in a tightly contested match. The score read as 14-10 in favour of the Army. Yet in the second half, Air Force added 7 more points to the 3 points secured by the Army. The final result was the Air Force beating Army 17-14. The Air Force points came in the form of 2 goals and a penalty. And that's a wrap on your news here at Sri Lanka Rupavahini Corporation. I am Siobhan Pereira, together with Sharifa Tahir, wishing you a pleasant evening and a great weekend.
Good night.